All righty, good morning everybody. Welcome to AuthosLENS Presents Office 365, an overview. Our goal today is going to be to dive into Office 365 at a fairly high level, talk about the utilities and tools built into it, the workloads and functionality that exist within there. We're not going to spend a ton of time really deep diving into anything in particular. This is really more of an overview of Office 365. Our presenters today are going to be Steve Heller and Kyle Swanda. Steve Heller is the Director of Business Development at Authos, and Kyle Swanda is the President of Authos. For upcoming events, we've got AuthosLENS webinars scheduled every second Thursday of the month. Our next event is scheduled for June 11th, where we're going to deep dive into security in Office 365, really explore what you can do from a security standpoint in Exchange Online, Skype for Business Online, Sharepoint Online, along with looking at compliance and various other government regulations that need to be met. Our AuthosLENS live event will be Wednesday, June 17th at the Microsoft office at Exarban Village, where our goal is to discover Office 365 from a productivity standpoint. Some of the things that we're not going to talk about today that we'll discuss at the live event will be items like Microsoft Delve and various other add-ons and utilities within Office 365 that add a number of productivity gains and features within Office 365. So feel free to stay tuned to authos.net. We've got blogs that update every Monday. We've got the webinars that will be the second Thursday of every month. And then we'll have live events generally scheduled for the third Wednesday of every month. But feel free to take a look at the website. We'll also send out invites letting you know of what's coming up. And now I'm going to hand it over to Steve Heller, who's going to go through today's goals with Office 365 and then dive into the presentation.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Again, welcome everybody. Appreciate you joining us this morning to talk a little bit about the goals that we're going to run through today. As Kyle mentioned, we're going to introduce Office 365, talk a little bit about what it is, why organizations are utilizing it, discuss the different workloads that exist within it, showcase how your end users will interface within Office 365, the portal, as well as the individual workloads, and then also provide some resources for further assistance. So to talk first about what is Office 365, it's important to note when we talk about Office 365, we're not talking about simply Office licensing. We're talking about a subscription solution that can provide productivity and efficiencies to your business. How that happens is if you look at storing and sharing documents, working collaboratively with teams, accessing email, calendar contacts, and having meetings rather than being limited to your local environment or your physical location, you're able to utilize all these four attributes in an online environment utilizing Microsoft applications. So to go into a little more detail, on the left side of this slide, what you'll see is some different use cases or different initiatives that organizations have, whether you're working collaboratively within teams, creating shared content, running meetings, looking to maximize productivity, sharing your own expertise, as well as seeking expertise from others. Again, rather than limiting yourself to what you have locally stored on your infrastructure or within your servers, or being a little bit more, I guess, held down by your physical location, you can start to utilize these online services that Microsoft has to be able to expand your network, expand your ability to reach others, and expand your ability to collaborate. So looking at this slide again, in terms of the Microsoft Office 365 workloads, when we talk about collaborating with teams and on projects, you can utilize sites in Office 365, which is SharePoint. When we talk about creating and contributing shared content rather than storing locally, you can utilize OneDrive for Business as well as SharePoint to run effective meetings. You can utilize Lync, which going forward you'll be hearing Skype for Business, maximizing productivity when you utilize tasks and presence. You can utilize Outlook and the Outlook web apps. sharing your identity and expertise, you can utilize Lync as well as Sharepoint as a way to outreach to folks outside of your organization. And then in terms of trying to consume additional information or expand your expertise by seeking other experts, you can utilize both Newsfeed and Yammer. So now to dive a little bit more into these individual workloads, as well as show how your end users will access the portal as well as access some of these individual workloads. On the left side of this slide, what you'll see is what your end users will see up above when they access the Office 365 portal. They'll put in their login credentials, they'll go into this portal, and up above they'll see Outlook, Calendar, People, Yammer, OneDrive, and Sites. So you click on Outlook. One of the first things we all do when we sit down at our desk is pull up our email. The nice thing is that most of you are likely using Outlook currently, so you can access your Outlook via the online Outlook web app or the Outlook that you'll have locally on your desktop in a very familiar fashion. So you can use folders, send, receive email. You can customize your Outlook view, all fairly similar things to what you're probably already doing. The next item would be Calendar, which you can also access below within your Outlook screen. But from a calendar aspect, again, you're probably familiar with a lot of the functionality here, adding meetings, checking out resource rooms, checking availability of individuals in resource rooms. What you can also do is you can schedule Lync meetings rather than just scheduling your on-site meeting or your meeting at your customer or prospect location. The next item is People. Again, probably familiar with a little bit of the functionality here. Creating contacts, deleting contacts, creating groups for prospects, customers, internal, et cetera. One of the nice features within this is that if you look at the individuals on this slide, you can see a color code on the left of them. So you can tell now whether that contact is busy, if they're away, if they're available, or if they're offline. So if you need to reach somebody quickly, either via email or via chat, you can see whether or not you're going to be successful in getting a hold of them. Next item we'll talk about is OneDrive. And one of the things that we want to make sure and distinguish is what is OneDrive versus what is SharePoint. So when we talk about OneDrive and we think about OneDrive in terms of how we utilize it internally as well as how our customers are utilizing it, OneDrive is essentially your My Documents folder. So rather than storing locally, if you've got, say, family pictures you want to use for the background of your computer screen, if you've got proposals and marketing information that is specific to you as an end user, not necessarily appropriate for business storage, you can utilize your OneDrive for this type of online storage. Obviously, this gives you access to this information on any device, wherever you are, but it also frees up some of that storage need within your local infrastructure. One of the other things you can do within OneDrive is share this information with folks either internal or external to your organization. So, for example, if I'm preparing a marketing event and partnering with another Microsoft partner, I can share my PowerPoint presentation slide with them. They can edit it. I can edit it. It saves back to my OneDrive account. I don't have to worry about sending versions back and forth, wondering who's got the master copy. We can work on it collaboratively and very easily. The next item is Sites, and this is our SharePoint site. So again, we talked about OneDrive, OneDrive being the My Documents folder. When we think of SharePoint, how most of our customers are utilizing SharePoint is when you think of it in terms of your file server. So it's creating a folder structure for departments or divisions within your company that would basically take the place or complement the file server structure that you have internally. Again, the collaboration exists in which you can share information externally. An important note with SharePoint is that you can set up permissions so that employees can only access the folders or the files for which they have permission. Again, that's a very important security feature, so we want to make sure and take note of that. One of the other nice things is if you're the author of these documents, you can get notification when items are changed. So if you do need to take a look at versions, older versions, and go back to older versions, you can do that very easily. There's a lot more you can do with SharePoint. Document storage seems to be the biggest use case. When you think of SharePoint, it's like a gigantic Swiss Army knife. It's got a lot of tools, from establishing workflows to implementing calendars, chat, or connecting to Yammer feeds. So there's a lot you can do with SharePoint, but the biggest use case that we've seen both internally and most of our customers has been from implementing a file structure system. Last workload we'll talk about is Lync, soon to be known as, or soon and going forward will be talked about as Skype for Business. So the biggest use case we've seen for utilizing Skype for Business has been mostly the chat function or instant messaging function. Rather than emailing back and forth, if you've got a quick hit question, you can just chat that right to a colleague or somebody external to your organization, and they can respond back very quickly. One of the other items that you can do that can enhance these chats is you can do video as well as share your screen, establish a whiteboard. So what's nice is, for us internally, when we've got engineers on site that might need to escalate a question, they can utilize the video function of Lync and show other engineers exactly what they're looking at to get instant feedback onto what protocol to take or what next step needs to happen. Also, when interfacing with prospects or customers, if we have a document that we need to access, we can pull that up very quickly, share our screen, collaborate very effectively with, again, folks internal and external to the organization. As Skype for Business matures, we can check the roadmap. They're probably going to implement some more webinar functionality to it. Currently, it's more from a conference call perspective. You can record and send out these types of conversations. However, from an overall webinar functionality, it's not quite there yet. However, as Skype for Business matures, we can see that coming on the roadmap. So now that we've talked about all the different workloads that exist within it, what do the plans look like, and what does the investment look like? So here are the different plans that exist within 365. The key points to this slide is you don't have to pick a one-size-fits-all plan. You can look at the individual users within your company. You can pick the plan or plans that make the most sense based upon your organization. So if you've got existing Office licensing and you don't need a plan that encompasses that, you can look at, say, the Business Essentials or the Enterprise E1 plans, utilize Exchange, Lync, SharePoint, OneDrive, leave the Office licensing out of it. Also, if you're just looking at one workload, so for example, a lot of the customers we work with don't want to bite off all workloads, rather maybe start with Exchange. They do have Exchange online only plans. If you look about midway down the slide on the left-hand slide, you can see individual services, so you can dig into some of the individual plans that exist as well. With that, I know we wanted to keep this to about 15 minutes, so we'll go ahead and open it up to any questions. I'll have Kyle jump back on the line as well.
Yeah, Steve, we got a few questions here from some of the people. Someone asked specifically about Yammer. Said we mentioned it a couple times, asking specifically what is that. Yammer's an interesting product from Microsoft's standpoint. It's built into most every Office 365 suite plan that exists. And really the best way to describe it is almost like a Facebook for your internal organization. We utilize it a lot to communicate between Microsoft and ourselves, with the various groups within Microsoft, as a Microsoft partner, we've got opportunities to communicate with, the technical group, with the sales group, with the marketing group, and with such a wide group of people, a wide number of people in various areas, it's actually quite interesting to be able to get in there and collaborate. Now, you do get a wall-like presentation that you almost see from a Facebook or any of the other social media sites. I've also seen some organizations that have a number of remote users or remote offices utilize it to help keep up to date on, what's happening within each office. So if there's, say something fun like a potluck or something happening in a specific office, it'll stay within that office, but it allows them to collaborate and see what's going on between the other sites. Hopefully that answers the question. If you need some more detail, feel free to chat it in there. The next question is, what are some advanced email features? Pretty loaded question. There's quite a few advanced email features within Office 365. It really depends on what you're looking to get access to. Off the top of my head, I can think, depending again on the plan that you've subscribed to, the ability to have unlimited online archiving. You get 50 gigs of storage in your primary inbox, but if you do have users that are going to go over 50 gig, you do have the ability to add an online archive that would be available in Outlook or OWA and archive data off to it. Very similar to how PSTs worked in the past, except in this case it's stored on Microsoft servers, and the storage is completely unlimited, so you can have as much information or email as you want in there. And I know some users who like to delete their stuff immediately and other people who like to keep it for 10 or 15 years. Can you prevent documents from being sent or shared? Yeah, absolutely. There's functionality within Office 365, and we'll deep dive into this quite extensively in the security for Office 365 next month. But there are data loss prevention features built into Office 365 that can, detect, document fingerprints. So if you've got a particular style of document, say a template that you utilize that has some stuff already built into it, that you can fingerprint that document and prevent people from sending it out. We also have the ability to identify Social Security numbers, credit card numbers, PHI, PII, or any other type of string of letters and numbers, and prevent people from either emailing that or sending it out of SharePoint, or possibly, as Skype for Business matures, they're adding some of this functionality into that, so that you can't chat that information outside of the organization. Looks like we got one more question here around Lync or Skype for Business, and it's how many people can be on a Skype for Business call. So we've seen organizations that will have anywhere from 2 people on a Skype for Business call up to 300 people. We've got a company that we work with that has offices all around the United States, and what they will do is they'll hold their all-company meetings on Skype for Business. So they've got the ability to bring everybody in from an audio call standpoint. They'll have 1 or 2 presenters, and then the entire rest of the organization is capable of listening in. They can also present video and share, whiteboards, PowerPoints, and those types of things, all from within Office 365. I believe the limit on a straight video chat right now is 10 HD participants in a video chat. So if you've got 10 people on the chat, everybody with webcams, they can all view that all at the same time. Doesn't look like we've got any other questions or anything else coming in. So we do want to say thank you for participating today. Hopefully this was worth your time. Our goal for these events is to have them last about 15 to 20 minutes. We know everybody's busy. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to us. There's a contact form on our website at authos.net, or you can reach out to either Steve or I at steve@authos.net or Kyle@authos.net. Thanks for participating, and stay tuned for the next event. Thank you.